Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle, and here on this channel I make mommy videos, so everything from pregnancy updates all the way to baby product reviews. So if those are the type of videos you like to watch, I'd love for you to consider hitting that red subscribe button so you can see every time I have a new video. So today I am going to be doing a review. It's been a little while since I've done a review here because I haven't had a lot to review with my daughter, but now with my son, there's just so many newborn products out there, like baby products out there. Obviously there are more toddler products coming out as well, but just an abundance of baby products that I haven't had the chance to use because I didn't have a baby anymore. So for today, I'm going to be talking about something that I'll probably talk about in a breastfeeding video when I get to that, but it is the Haakaa pump. I think this is something that you guys all need to hear about, so that's why we're here today. So for those of you wondering, what is a Haakaa pump? How does it work? The Haakaa pump is a silicone pump that is designed to be used while you're breastfeeding. So what you do is you would put it on the opposite breast that you are not feeding on. So whatever side, let's say you're feeding baby on the left side, you would put the Haakaa pump on the right side and it would catch the letdown. So whenever you're breastfeeding your baby, as the baby is sucking, it's stimulating your milk to come down. And when you have a letdown, it can't identify what side the baby's on. So you have letdown in both breasts every time you breastfeed. So when you put the Haakaa pump on, it will catch that milk that otherwise would end up in your nursing pad. The Haakaa pump also does create a suction, and so it does also pull out milk as well. So it doesn't just collect the letdown, it also kind of draws out a little bit more than you normally would get. So it's kind of like being able to pump and catch the letdown all at the same time. So I'm going to talk about the pros, then I'll talk about cons, tips and tricks, and then finally I'll show you guys how you can attach the Haakaa pump. So for pros, I have a ton of them because honestly I really love this pump. The pros of the Haakaa pump is that it collects the letdown. So instead of having that milk just be wasted and going into a breast pad that you're just going to throw away, you're able to collect that milk and save it. It creates a good suction if you apply it correctly. It creates a good suction where it doesn't come off. So if your baby is kicking or hitting or anything like that, it should stay on if you've put it on correctly. Obviously when you have a newborn, they're not doing all of that, so it's great to know that it's in there. If you feel like it's not secure, what you can do is tuck it into your nursing bra. So when you flip the bra down on that side, just kind of put it so it's catching it or holding it and cradling it, just in case something were to happen and the suction were to come off, you wouldn't lose all that milk, because that would just fall down and it would be a disaster. I love that it's hands-free. It's not something you have to be holding on to. You just put it on there, nurse your baby, and you don't have to worry about it. It's easy to travel with. It comes with a container that you can keep to travel with, or it's easy to just put it in a bag into your diaper bag. Helps you to start your freezer stash. So with my daughter, I didn't start pumping until I was probably about I would say 4 weeks, and it was really hard because she was such a cluster feeding all the time. She was nursing constantly, and so I barely had time to pump, and so I just didn't have a very big freezer stash, and it was very stressful for me to leave. I didn't feel like I had enough time to pump, because if I pumped, then the next time she wanted to feed and I'd be like, oh, I don't have enough milk left because I just finished pumping. So this would have been great. So it helps to build that stash early on so that you have something to start feeding your baby so that they can get used to having taking a bottle. It can collect foremilk and hind milk. So when your baby is sucking, the first milk that comes out is called the foremilk. It's that kind of milky, watery looking milk that comes out first. And then the hind milk is that fatty milk that really will help your baby get all the nutrients that they need. So you want to make sure that you're getting foremilk and hind milk. The pump can collect hind milk as well because it does create that suction and just draws out milk as well. But I find, for me personally, that the milk that is in the Haakaa tends to be a little bit more of the foremilk than hind milk, but it is capable of collecting both. The next pro about the Haakaa pump is that it doesn't create an oversupply, because it's not stimulating your body to make more milk. It's just collecting the milk that is there. So it's a great product to use in that first few weeks of life where you want your body to regulate how much milk your baby needs. So you don't want to pump early on and create an oversupply and your baby can't handle it, and that leads to engorgement and mastitis and things like that. So I find the Haakaa pump will collect that milk but doesn't create an oversupply, so your body is still able to regulate according to how much your baby needs. It saves you that time so that you don't have to be pumping if you don't want to. You can build quite a good freezer stash off of your Haakaa pump, and it saves time so you don't have to be pumping as many times during the day. So I will use my Haakaa pump in the beginning I was using it for every single feeding, and now I could use it maybe just a few times in the day, and then at night when I know my baby is down for his longest stretch, I will pump for about 10 to 15 minutes then. So I will only pump once a day. It's really easy to clean. This one is just straight shot. You just use a bottle brush and just clean it, and then you can also just sterilize it as well. It's convenient because there's no assembly, so that's part of the easy to clean part too. It's not like your pump where it has different parts that you have to put all together, pump, take apart and clean. This one you don't have to, there's no assembly, you just pop it on and you're good to go. It can be helpful if you have an oversupply or you have engorgement. It can reduce the fullness without stimulating your body to create more milk. So if you are engorged or you have an oversupply, you put that on, it'll draw out what's there, so you don't feel as full. It's not painful, but it's not like signaling your body to create more milk. It can also clear a plugged duct. So I've never done this because I don't have that issue, but I know that if you do a mixture of warm water and Epsom salts in it and you attach it to the boob, that will allow your body to pull out the milk, draw out the milk from that plugged duct and release that milk, and then you just dump it out, rinse it, redo it again, and then make sure you really clean your Haakaa pump after that, so that when you're collecting milk that you're going to save for your baby, you don't have any of the residues from the Epsom salts. So I'm going to go into some of the cons of the Haakaa pump. The original one does not come with a suction base, so you can buy a few different models. There is the original one, which does not have a suction base and does not have a lid. There is the one that has a suction base but doesn't have a lid. You can get one with a suction base and a lid. There's a few different sizes. I think that there's 3 ounces, 4 ounces, and 5 ounces, if I'm correct. So you can choose your size, and you can choose whether you want the one with the suction base or the one with the cover. So the original one that doesn't have the cover is obviously not as stable on the bottom. Like, it can stand, but quite easy to tip over. And of course it doesn't come with a lid. So those are options that you can get, but it is inconvenient that if you want to buy the simplest one, that it doesn't come with those items. The price point can be high. I know obviously prices are different because I'm in Canada. My prices are a little bit higher than those in the States, but I do feel like it's a great product, but the price point can be high. It's definitely an investment. I do find that the measurements of ounces on the Haakaa pump are not accurate. So what I do is, after I finish using the Haakaa pump, I will pour it into the Medela bottles from my pump, and I can tell that the ounces that were on the Haakaa and from my bottle are completely different. So I always go by the amount of ounces that are on my bottle and not what it shows me on the Haakaa, because I find that they're not accurate. It doesn't empty you completely, so it is not a complete replacement for pumping. So this could be a con for some people, but I mean, that's not really what it's advertised to do. But it doesn't replace pumping because it does not completely drain your breast. It will just collect, let down, suction out a little bit more, but it won't completely empty it the way pumping will. And so because it doesn't do that, it's not going to increase your supply. So when you pump, it stimulates to your body that it needs to produce more milk because it's mimicking baby feeding. But when you use the Haakaa, it's doing a little bit of suctioning, drawing out more milk, but is mostly collecting your letdown, and so it's not going to help you if you are wanting to increase your supply. So I'm going to talk about a few tips that I have for using the Haakaa. The first one is, I find that it's best for me to combine with pumped milk. So I will pump at the end of the day, and then I will combine it with what I got from the Haakaa. So I make sure that no matter what, there's foremilk and there's hind milk, and I'm getting the exact amount that I want. So I like to combine it to make sure that I have both types of milk. You can add heat to your breast to increase the flow if you're using the Haakaa without your baby feeding. So what you could do is buy 2 Haakaas, put the one on each breast, breast and use that. Put heat on your breast because that will stimulate your letdown without you having your baby there, and that will help you to be able to use the Haakaa in between feedings. If you don't have a pump or you're out and about and you want to use this, that will help you. Another tip is to use it during the night feedings when you may feel engorged. So if your baby does sleep through the night, or if your baby only feeds on one side but not the other, you use the Haakaa so you feel like you're not feeling engorged overnight. And definitely if you have two and you use those at night as like a replacement for pumping, it's no sound, no nothing. You don't have to worry about all the parts in the night. You can just put that on there while your baby is sleeping, get that milk out, and then go back to sleep. So that's an easier way of reducing the amount of milk that you have at night without pumping. Use it for as many feedings as possible in the beginning. So every single time you feed your baby, put it on there because that will help you to get as much as possible. It helps you to collect it from the get-go and really build a good freezer stash in the first like 4 weeks of life when you're not pumping, because there's a lot of milk that you could be losing in that first 4 weeks when you're not pumping if it's just going into your nursing pad. Because of all those other tips that I told you about how you can use it other than just catching the letdown while your baby's feeding, it's helpful to have two pumps because then you can use them both at the same time, or you can have one upstairs, one downstairs if you're washing one, or one is in the fridge with some milk. You don't have to worry about, oh, I only have one, what am I gonna do for my next feeding? So it is helpful if you have two. Another tip while you're using it, while your baby is feeding, or even if you're just using it as just to catch it without your baby, massaging the breast is going to help to promote that letdown and to get a little bit extra milk. So sometimes while I be feeding my son on one side and I have this on the other side, if I find that there's not a lot of milk coming out, I'll just kind of massage that breast so that it will kind of stimulate it a little bit extra just to get a little bit more milk. I totally realized that I've gone through almost this entire video and I didn't even show you what the Haakaa pump looks like. So this is what my pump looks like. I know it's pretty hard to see because of my white background, but this is what the Haakaa looks like. I'll also put a picture up here and leave a link in the description box if you guys want to check this out. I know you can find this at Bye Bye Baby, you can find this at West Coast Kids, and you can also find this on Amazon. That's where I bought mine, just because it was the easiest method for me. But this one I have here is the one that does not have the suction base. It's the original. It didn't come with a lid, and this one is the 4-ounce one. So this I found, I never really had it be more than that, but I feel like if depending on how much you have in your letdown, you kind of can know, okay, my Haakaa is full frequently when I put it on. Maybe you need to invest in buying the 5-ounce or have two so that you can switch it out without having to worry about pouring it into a bottle. You can just switch out your Haakaas really quickly. So yeah, this is what it looks like. It's just so simple, so small, and absolutely convenient. I did end up purchasing a stopper. If I had done something differently, I probably would have bought the lid, but I did buy the little stopper separately to go in it. So this is what it looks like. And you just stick it into the top here, and I don't have any milk in here, but once it's inside there, you can turn it upside down and the milk will not come out. It won't. It's very helpful to have a lid or a stopper just for that peace of mind, especially with anybody else around your house, especially if you have pets, you have other kids, you know, anybody could knock into it and knock it over. And we all know that you definitely cry over spilt breast milk for sure. Like, this is liquid gold, so anything you can do to keep it safe, you want to do it. So I definitely recommend maybe buying the one that comes with the stopper, the one that comes with the lid right off the bat so that you don't have to worry about it. If you don't get the one with the suction base, you can just put it in a mug just to keep it from tipping over or anything like that. So on the side here, it's really hard to see because it's clear, but it does have the measurements of the ounces. As I said before, I don't find that they're accurate until you pour it into a bottle, but it does give you the measurements of ounces so you can kind of get a rough idea. So now I'm going to show you how to correctly apply your Haakaa pump so that it doesn't fall off. So I'm going to use this balloon here to show you guys exactly what you need to do. You're going to squeeze it. You're going to want to flip back your phalange. You're going to put it onto the nipple. You are going to push the phalange back, and there you go. It is stuck on there. It's on there. It's not coming off, you guys can see, and so it does draw out that milk, and it will stay on. It should stay on even if your baby kicks it or anything like that, if it's done correctly. And of course, again, when you want to take it off, you just slip your finger inside to break the suction, and there you go. That's how you put on your Haakaa pump correctly so that you don't have any issues. If it's painful, you should take it off, reattach it, but when you get that good suction that first time, it should not come off during the feed, and it should collect a lot more milk because it's got that good grip and good suction. Anyways, guys, that is it for this review on the Haakaa pump. I definitely love it. I recommend it for any breastfeeding mama, anybody that you know, friend or family. This also will make a really great gift for somebody who's having a baby, because it's something that not everybody knows about, but it's something that is so simple but is such a lifesaver and can do so many great, wonderful things for you. And honestly, anything that will help with that breastfeeding journey, especially in the beginning, is such a godsend, because it can be a hard journey in the beginning, and this is something I feel like will make moms' lives a little bit easier. Guys, that is it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you use the Haakaa pump, or you know somebody who've used it. What are your opinions on it? Would you consider purchasing it? I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you guys aren't already subscribed, hit that red subscribe button so you could become a part of my little internet family, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.